In today's audiobook, you're about to step into a story about starting over. About the kind of life we plan, and the kind that finds us anyway. This is a story about unexpected places, complicated choices, and discovering that sometimes the detour becomes the destination. If you've ever wondered whether it's too late to change your life, this story might stay with you longer than you expect. This is the story of Claire Bennett. And the summer she stopped performing her life, and started actually living it. Let's begin. Open Book Chapter 1, The Art of Falling Apart. There's a specific kind of silence that follows a life unraveling. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's just empty. The kind of quiet that makes you hear your own heartbeat, and wish you couldn't. My name is Claire. And 3 weeks ago, I was someone else. I was the girl who had a 5-year plan. The one who color-coded her Google Calendar and prepped for meetings on Sunday nights. I was engaged to a man my mother called a solid investment. And I worked at a job that looked impressive on paper, even if it felt hollow in practice. Then, in the span of 72 hours, it all collapsed. The engagement ended first. Not with a fight. Not with slammed doors or thrown dishes. Just a conversation. In our kitchen. Over coffee that went cold. I just think we want different things, he said. Different things. 3 words. That's what 3 years became. I nodded. Because what do you say to that? You can't argue with someone who's already left. The job came next. My boss called me into her office on a Tuesday afternoon. Restructuring, she said. Nothing personal. Nothing personal. Like my desk wasn't already cleared out by Thursday. Like I hadn't spent 4 years building something that vanished in a 12-minute meeting. I drove home that day and sat in my car in the driveway for 45 minutes. Just sat there. Watching the house I could no longer afford. The house we picked out together. The house with the garden I never planted. And I thought, what now? Because when you spend your whole life following a map, and the map disappears, you don't know which way is forward anymore. That night, I called my brother. Come stay with me, he said. Just for a while. The guest house is empty. You can breathe here. His voice was calm. Easy. The way it's always been. Sam lives in a small coastal town in Maine called Port Shore. He left the city 5 years ago. We all thought he was crazy. Now I wasn't so sure. 3 days later, I packed my car. I didn't take much. Just clothes. A few books. My laptop. Everything else I left in boxes. The drive was long. 11 hours. But somewhere around Massachusetts, something shifted. The highway got smaller. The trees got taller. And for the first time in months, I could breathe. By the time I crossed into Maine, the sun was setting. And I realized I hadn't checked my email in 6 hours. 6 hours. That might be a record. Port Shore wasn't what I expected. It was smaller. Quieter. Main Street had exactly 3 stoplights and a diner called the Salty Mug. There was a bookstore with a cat in the window. A bakery that smelled like bread and salt air. And then there was the guest house. Sam was waiting on the porch when I pulled up. He didn't say much. Just hugged me. The kind of hug that says I've got you without needing words. The place is small, he said. But it's yours for as long as you need. I walked inside. White walls. Big windows. A view of the water. And a silence that didn't feel empty anymore. That first night, I sat on the porch and listened to the ocean. I didn't think about the wedding that wasn't happening. I didn't think about the job I no longer had. I just listened. And for the first time in years, I felt something I couldn't name. It wasn't happiness. Not yet. But it wasn't pain either. It was possibility. Headphone. End of chapter 1. If you're enjoying this story so far, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. It really helps more listeners discover stories like this. I'd love to know where you're listening from. Leave a comment and say hello. Let's continue. Open book chapter 2, The Girl Who Didn't Stay. The first few days in Port Shore, I didn't do much. I slept. Ate whatever Sam left on my doorstep. Walked along the water. The beach here isn't the kind you see in postcards. No white sand. No palm trees. Just rocks and driftwood and the kind of waves that don't apologize for being cold. I liked that. The honesty of it. On day 4, Sam knocked on my door around noon. "Time to meet people," he said. "I don't want to meet people." Noted. "But Molly's making pot roast, and she'll never forgive me if I don't bring you." Molly was Sam's wife. They'd been together since college. The kind of couple that still held hands at the grocery store. I used to roll my eyes at that. Now I just felt tired. Dinner was at their house. A small cottage 3 blocks from the water. The table was crowded. Molly's parents. A neighbor. And someone I didn't recognize. "Claire, this is Nick," Sam said. "He runs the bookstore in town." Nick nodded. "Welcome to Port Shore. How long are you staying?" The question everyone asks. The one I didn't have an answer for. "I'm not sure yet," I said. He smiled. Small. Easy. That's the right answer. Dinner was loud and warm and exactly what I didn't know I needed. Molly's pot roast was perfect. Her father told bad jokes. Her mother asked gently invasive questions. And Nick mostly listened. After dinner, I stepped outside for air. The porch faced the water. The sky was doing that thing it does here, fading from blue to purple to something darker. Nick appeared beside me. Quietly. Like he wasn't sure if he should. "Overwhelming?" he asked. "A little. It gets easier. The town grows on you." I looked at him. "And you? Have you always been here?" He shook his head. "Came here 7 years ago. From Boston. Had a different life there." "What kind of life?" "The kind that looked good from the outside." He paused. "Turns out, that's not the same as being happy." I didn't say anything. But something in his words landed. That night, walking back to the guest house, I thought about what he said. A life that looked good from the outside. That was me. That was my entire existence. What would it feel like to stop performing? To just be? I didn't know yet. But for the first time, I wanted to find out. Headphone. End of chapter 2. If this story is resonating with you, hit that like button. It helps more people find these stories. Let's keep going. Open book chapter 3, Bookstore Conversations. The next week, I started exploring. I walked Main Street every morning. Bought coffee from the same place. Said hello to the same faces. It felt small. But not in a bad way. In a way that made me feel seen. The bookstore was called Salt and Pages. It was tucked between a hardware store and a laundromat. The windows were old. The sign was hand-painted. And the cat in the window was always sleeping. I went in on a Tuesday afternoon. The bell above the door chimed. Nick looked up from the counter. "Claire," he said. Like he'd been expecting me. "Just browsing," I said. He nodded. Best kind of customer. The store was small but packed. Shelves everywhere. Books stacked on the floor. A reading nook in the corner with 2 worn armchairs. I wandered for a while. Pulled books off shelves. Read first pages. Put them back. After about 20 minutes, Nick appeared beside me with 2 cups of coffee. "You look like you could use this," he said. I took it. "Do you always offer coffee to customers?" "Only the ones who look like they're hiding from something." I laughed. Actually laughed. It surprised me. Was it that obvious? No. He leaned against a shelf. But I recognized the look. I had it once. We talked for an hour that afternoon. Not about anything important. Books. The town. The best places to watch the sunset. Easy conversation. The kind that doesn't feel like work. Before I left, he handed me a book. "Read this," he said. "It helped me. Might help you too." I looked at the cover. Old. Worn. A title I didn't recognize. "What's it about?" He smiled. "You'll see." That night, I started reading. And somewhere around page 30, I cried. Not the messy kind of crying. The quiet kind. The kind that happens when something inside you finally loosens. The book was about a woman who left everything behind. Not because she was running away, but because she was running towards something she couldn't yet name. I underlined a sentence. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is admit that the life you built isn't the life you want. I read it 3 times. Then I closed the book and looked out the window at the water. Maybe that was me. Maybe I wasn't broken. Maybe I was just brave enough to stop pretending. Headphone. End of chapter 3. I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment and let me know where you're listening from. More coming right up. Open book chapter 4, The Dinner That Changed Everything. 2 weeks passed. Then 3. The days blurred together in the best way. I started helping at the bookstore a few afternoons a week. Nothing official. Just shelving books. Ringing up customers. It felt good to do something with my hands. Nick and I fell into a rhythm. Coffee in the mornings. Walks in the evenings. Conversations that went late into the night. He told me about Boston. About the marketing job he left. About the engagement that ended. The apartment he gave up. Everyone thought I was having a breakdown, he said. Maybe I was. But sometimes breakdowns are just breakthroughs wearing ugly clothes. I told him about my life. About the wedding that wasn't. About the job that disappeared. And he listened. Without fixing. Without judging. Just listened. One night, he invited me to dinner at his place. A small apartment above the bookstore. Nothing fancy. Just pasta and wine and a view of the water. We ate on the fire escape. The air was cool. The sky was clear. "I have a question," he said. "Okay. Do you miss it? The old life?" I thought about it. Really thought about it. "No," I said. I miss the idea of it. The version I thought I was building. But the reality? The stress. The performance. The feeling that I was running on a treadmill that never stopped? I don't miss that at all. He nodded. That's progress. Is it? It is. Missing the dream is different from missing the life. The dream will fade. The life, you're already building a new one. I looked at him. Really looked at him. The kindness in his eyes. The way he held his wine glass. The quiet steadiness of him. Nick, why did you really leave Boston? He was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, because I woke up one day and realized I hadn't felt anything in years. Not joy. Not sadness. Just nothing. And I thought, if this is what success feels like, I don't want it. And now? He smiled. Now. I feel everything. The good. The bad. The complicated. It's harder. But it's real. That night, walking home, I understood something. I wasn't just recovering. I was becoming someone new. Headphone. End of chapter 4. If you're still with me, thank you. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next chapters. Let's keep going. Open book chapter 5, the phone call. The next morning, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Claire? It was him. My ex-fiancé. David. Hi, he said. I know this is out of nowhere. I've been thinking. I sat down on the porch steps. My heart was beating too fast. David, it's been 3 months. I know. I think I made a mistake. I closed my eyes. 3 months ago, I would have done anything to hear those words. 3 months ago, they would have fixed everything. But now? I'm sorry, I said. I can't do this. Claire, just hear me out. No. You don't get to do this. You don't get to walk away and then come back when it's convenient for you. Silence. Then, you sound different. I am different. I hung up. My hands were shaking. But underneath the shaking, there was something else. Clarity. I didn't want him back. I didn't want the life we were supposed to build. I wanted this. This small town. This quiet. This version of me that was still figuring things out. That evening, I found Nick at the bookstore. He took one look at me and said, "Walk?" We walked to the water. Sat on the rocks. Watched the waves. He called, I said. Nick didn't react. Just waited. I told him no. And I meant it. Nick nodded slowly. How do you feel? Honestly? Relieved. Like something I'd been carrying finally fell away. He looked at me. That's because it did. We sat there until the sun went down. And when he reached for my hand, I let him. Not because I needed saving. Because I wanted connection. Real connection. The kind that doesn't ask you to be anyone other than who you are. Headphone. End of chapter 5. You're listening to The Year We Stopped Running. If this story means something to you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. 1 chapter left. Open book chapter 6, The Life That Found Us. 6 months later, I'm still here. The guest house isn't temporary anymore. I painted the walls. Bought plants. Made it mine. I work at the bookstore 3 days a week. The other days, I write a blog about starting over. Turns out, there are a lot of people looking for permission to change their lives. Nick and we're something. We haven't defined it. We don't need to. We just are. Today, we're on the fire escape again. Same view. Same line. Different people. Do you ever think about leaving? He asks. Port Shore? No. The question was bigger than that. I know. It always is with him. Sometimes, I admit. Not because I want to. Because I'm still learning how to stay. He nods. Me too. I look at him. At this man who left everything and found himself. At this life I didn't plan but somehow needed. Nick, do you think we would have met? In the old lives? No, he says. We were different people then. We wouldn't have recognized each other. And now? He smiles. That quiet, easy smile. Now? I can't imagine not knowing you. The sun is setting. The sky is doing that thing. And I realize, this is it. This is the life I was supposed to find. Not the perfect life. Not the easy life. Just mine. A few weeks later, I'm at the beach alone. The water is cold. The rocks are slippery. But I've learned how to walk here. How to find my footing. I think about the woman who arrived 9 months ago. The one with the broken engagement and the empty calendar. The one who thought her life was over. It wasn't over. It was just waiting. Waiting for me to stop running. Waiting for me to stop performing. Waiting for me to choose something real. I pull out my phone. Scroll through photos. The old life. The new life. Both mine. Both part of the story. And for the first time, I'm grateful for all of it. The good. The bad. The detours. Because they led me here. That night, Nick and I are at the bookstore. The cat is sleeping in the window. The shelves are full of stories. And I realize, I'm in one now. What are you thinking about? He asks. That I finally understand something. What's that? That the life we plan, and the life that finds us, they're not the same thing. And the second one? It's better. Not because it's perfect. Because it's real. He kisses me. Soft. Easy. Like it's the most natural thing in the world. Maybe it is. Headphone. End of chapter 6. One final chapter to go. Open book chapter 7, the year we stopped running. 1 year. That's how long I've been in Port Shore. A year since I packed my car and drove north. A year since I stopped performing and started living. This morning, I wake up early. The sun is just starting to hit the water. I make coffee and walk to the beach. Nick is already there. Sitting on our rock. Waiting. Couldn't sleep? I ask. Couldn't stay away. I sit beside him. Hand him the second cup. 1 year, he says. I know. Any regrets? I think about it. Really think. Not one. He smiles. We watch the waves. The same waves I watched that first night. The ones that felt like possibility. Nick, do you think we'll stay? He turns to me. I think we'll keep choosing each other. One day at a time. And eventually, that becomes a life. I lean into him. The rocks are cold. The coffee is warm. And everything feels exactly right. Because here's what I've learned. There isn't one perfect life waiting for us. There are many. And sometimes, we just have to be brave enough to choose one. I chose this. This town. This man. This version of myself. Not because it's easy. Because it's real. And that's enough. Headphone final chapter end. Thank you for listening to The Year We Stopped Running. If this story meant something to you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. More stories are waiting for you right here. Until next time, keep choosing your own life.